1, 2, 3. Hello everyone, welcome to Model Kit Stuff. It's First Impressions Day today and we're looking at this. It's the AMT 1968 Plymouth Road, a muscle car. Brilliant. Yes, hello everyone, welcome to Model Kit Stuff, First Impressions Day today. So, what are we looking at today? Well, we've got another car kit, and this is the Plymouth Road. And if, like me, you sort of don't know much about cars, I'm going to give you the basic background. So, Roadrunner is a Chrysler brand that ran from 1968 to around 1980. There's some talk that it might be coming back at some point, although don't know much about that. But it started with this. It started with the Plymouth Roadrunner in 1968, which was a sort of budget-priced, for want of a better term actually, muscle car. So it had the same sort of concept as a muscle car. It was high performance, so most of the cost of the vehicle was in the engine, and a bit sparse on the trim level. So, but they'd kept the price down, so it was cheaper than a Pontiac GTO, for example, or even the Chrysler's own GTX. So it was quite a popular car. Like most muscle cars, they became a little bit less popular in the 70s when the cost of fuel was going up and people were, looking for something that was a little bit more frugal to drive. So and then it became a brand and no longer a sort of related to some form of iconic car. It is an iconic car. People try and restore these, soup these up, do all sorts of things with these. What we've got here is the AMT kit. Now the AMT kit, this was originally tooled in 1989. In fact, that there is the original box art that you can see on camera there. That's how it originally came out in 1989. So as AMT kits go, this is like a newie. This isn't bad at all. So what's in here I don't know. As you can see, I've not even taken the cellophane off as of yet. What I can say is this is a 2-in-1. So we've got the ability to build it stock or custom, which means we've got extra parts options, and that's great for future builds and things like that. So nice artwork on the back, unusually with the rear of the car. I don't know whether they think the rear of the car is more attractive in some way. Tells us it's 1:25 scale. Then if we look on the sides, like I say, we've got the original artwork from the box release, which does give us the front of the car, and we've got a kit number there of 1363/12. On this side of the box, it tells us we've got a couple of tyre options, different for stock or for custom, so Redline or Goodyear printed. And then it says, and I don't know what this is, so if you know, please let me know. It says only from cats at AMT. Cats spelled incorrectly, deliberately, obviously. And then a picture of a cat. So I'm not quite sure what that means. Someone somewhere knows, so enlighten me. On the back of the box, we've got our sprue map, for want of better terminology. It's just an image of what we're gonna get, and I can't really see it, so let's take the cellophane off at this point and give us a better look at what's going on. So it says parts moulded in white, of course, unless otherwise indicated. So it looks fairly typical, although we've got separate inside bits rather than a bathtub, so that's good. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sprues. 2 of them look like they are chromed, and then a clear sprue, so we've not got the windows all moulded together, so that's obviously something they moved away from by 1989. And a decal sheet. Now this particular release of the kit, this was released a couple of years ago now, is basically different decals to what might have been seen before. So yeah, so let's focus on the packaging now. It's the typical size AMT box. What we've got is a flimsy lid, but it's quite thick cardboard. It's actually fairly strong for a flimsy, and we have a flimsy bottom as well, which is actually more flimsy than the lid. How it'll do in your stash, yeah, it is definitely crushable, but it's not too bad. But it's not as strong as corrugated, obviously, so just be mindful of that. Right, okay, what we can see is that the box is absolutely rammed with stuff. So there's plenty going on in here. So let's just have a look at the packaging. We've got the clear parts, which I'm noticing are a little warped. Sorry, I said clear part, I meant chromed parts. Yeah. Then we've got clear parts in a separate bag. Then we've got our tyres in a separate bag. Body and floor pan together, separate bag. We've got our bonnet internal parts. What have we got there? Two sprues and the main internal bit all together there. And then in this bag we've got another 2, 3 sprues, and then at the bottom below that we've got our decals, and then we've got our instructions. So packaging, it's not brilliant, but it's not rubbish. The fact that it's in multiple bags helps a little bit, and the fact that the sprues fit the size of the box means nothing's moving around. That's good as well. So generally nothing to criticise about this, really. It's probably as good as you're ever gonna get. Although I'm a bit worried about that sprue, whether it's going to affect the parts, I don't know. Right then, time to look at our instructions. So our instructions are an A3 sheet folded out. I don't like that. It's really difficult to work with on your modelling space. You're constantly refolding. To do that, you need space, and that inevitably means you're knocking parts over, knocking paint over. They're just not a good way of working, so I don't like that really. What we've got is we've got the original box release artwork on the top, so these instructions probably are little changed from the original release. Then we've got a bit of history. So yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about it. Then before you begin, get familiar with the build process. Then there's some comments on tools and gluing. Then we've got building tips for the advanced modeler. That's interesting. I'm not sure I've noticed that before in the few AMT kits I've looked at. For the best possible finish, your kit should be painted. Oh, not too advanced then. Even if moulded in colour. Okay, yeah, so not really advanced at all. Paint should be applied evenly. Okay, these are basic tips, not for the advanced modeler. I assume they think some people will build it without painting it. Wow. In several thin coats rather than one heavy coat. Yeah, I mean, good advice. The first coat should not be completely cover the surface. Yeah, that the trouble is when you're trying to write something, it's difficult because are they using a paintbrush or are they using an airbrush? It's important to keep your hands clean. I don't think that's for the advanced modeler. I think that's for the beginner. Right, okay, let's get to step one. I'm going to zoom in, which means you won't get all the instructions in, but we'll move it around as best we can. So we start with the engine. What I'd say is it's nice and clear, but it's that the style is very much the same as the 60s, where you've got multiple parts all going together. What I do like about it is it tells you what everything is. I'm learning a lot about cars just from the instructions. So that's a water pump. You know, I wouldn't have necessarily known that. Starter I'd have known. Oil pan, we call that a sump in the UK. Exhaust manifolds and what have you. It says stock exhaust manifold, so I don't know if there's a different engine constructed somewhere. I guess we'll see. But you'd think if there was options, they'd be doing it side by side. Nope. So I think you've only got one manifold option anyway. Yeah, strange that they mentioned that. Anyway, then we've got a cross ram dual quad manifold as an option, or the dual quad manifold. So the cross ram must be this step in it, whatever that is. Then you've got velocity stacks, or just your ordinary air filter. So they basically suck in more air, I'm guessing. Right, so yeah, air cleaner upper, air cleaner lower. Okay, so you've got three different options on the air filter. Okay, that's cool. Valve covers, or what in the UK is often referred to as the rocker cover. Right, okay, so step one, engine. That all looks okay. Step two, carrying on with the engine. Put in the Dizzion alternator, fan belts. Be interesting to see what they look like, and the fan, and then the oil filter. Okay, step three, we're building the interior. So nice that we've got these as separate parts. It makes painting easier than the sort of the bathtub style of most of the kits that I've reviewed, AMT kits in the past or had. We've got some decals. Right, okay. So the decals are for the dashboard, so hopefully dials or something like that. We've got paint instructions, so all these letters we're seeing are paint instructions. So we've got paint instructions as we go. Doesn't look like we've got options on the steering wheel. Seats going in, which is nice. I like the fact that we've got a separate rear seat, so you can take that out and put roll bar in or something like that if you wish. That's good. Seats were either two-tone blue, parchment tan, or black and silver. Well, I don't like either of those options, thanks. Door panels match the seats, that would make sense. I'm guessing it was vinyl trim. Right, step four is on this side. and we're building up the floor pan. So interestingly, that's two parts. So we've got a separate front suspension bit, which is being mounted in under the floor pan. Then the firewall going in, and the what they're calling the internal or inner fender panels. Okay, so hood springs. Oh, it's nice that we've got those. So if you're gonna display it with your bonnet open, you can do so. That's nice. Brake fluid reservoir. Okay, I like the fact it's telling you what things are: windshield, wiper motor, so on and so forth. This is actually quite improved on the Dukes of Hazzard kit I'm building from AMT at the moment. Right, step 5, and we've got engine being mounted in, radiator being installed. We've got some hoses for the radiator, so that's great. Horn going in and battery. We'll have to look at how good these parts are in a minute. Then step 6. Yeah, we can see that. Step 6. So front cross member, anti-sway bar. It says wheel retainers do not paint. Oh, that's because you're going to glue the wheel onto it, I guess. Okay, so that's the front axle assembly going together. Then in step 7, we've got the other parts going underneath. So that's mainly the silencer box, exhaust piping. Okay, spring suspension on the rear. Okay, that's interesting. And then shock absorber as well. We've got the differential going in, which is multiple parts rather than one moulding, so hopefully that means we've got better detail. So I'm encouraged by the part count that we may have more detail than I've experienced in the past. Okay, then we are building up the body, so separate glazing, which is great. The B pillar is also separate. That's interesting. Body colours were Vietnam Sea Orange, Sunfire Yellow, Scorch Red, Blue Fire Metallic, Frost Green Metallic, and Buffed Silver Metallic. Okay, once again, I might not be doing it in any of those colours. So we've got the bonnet there, we've got the air grabber, which is an option depending on what you're putting in. And the grille, it says wipe off excess paint. D, wipe off excess. I think it's basically telling you to do a wash in the lamps. We've got a rear view mirror, so that's nice. And front windshield is separate, so that's nice, but they have got the quarter lights of the door moulded into it, so that's probably a bit of a shame. It means we'll get some distortion there and possibly some fit issues. Right, let's turn over step 9 now, and we're bringing it all together, putting the bumper on. And we've got, it's interesting they've called it the bumper. I thought the Americans had a different term for it. Yeah, okay. Thought that was an English term. So, floor pan mounting on the interior, putting the bodywork on. For stock Redline racing tyres, option 1. Custom Goodyear tyres, option 2. And we've got 2 different wheels for that. I'm guessing we've got 2 different wheel sizes. Then 10, we're going to the rear. So it's saying leave edges chrome. Okay, so different colours. So we've got N, A and D. We'll understand what that is in a minute. Tailpipes going on and the rear bumper going on. Step 11 is our paint colours. Now, given that we've got paint shout-outs all the way from the start, I think that should have been a little bit closer to this point here, the start of the page. But there's quite a list of colours there. I'm just interested in what they're putting on the back lights. N, red, A, black, D, white. Okay. So there's no orange in there. Or amber, there you go. Interesting. And then we've got, I've not seen any of these triangles, but we've got listed as semi-gloss or satin, gloss and metallic. Nothing for matte. I guess it's matte unless it's one of those. BC means body colour. We've got a bit of a key going on as well. AA is purple. IC is interior colour. AA, I didn't see any AAs, but that's interesting. It is recommended that you search the internet for additional custom colour references and details. You can do what you like, basically. Right, then we've got step 12, which is decal paintment. So I guess the logic was build it, paint it, put decals on for the instructions. Yeah. Right, so we've got a nice little outline of the car there with some decals being put out. So, yeah, so we've got a window decal, which is quite nice, which is a heart with a devil's tail on that says Plymouth. I'm probably going to use that, to be honest. That sounds quite cool, doesn't it? Then we've got options. We're going to have to look at these. Do you know what? Decals is the next thing to look at, so we might look at it whilst looking at this so we get a better understanding. So I'm going to get the decals in a sec, but instructions are clear, steps seem logical, no real issues with the instructions. Right, let's get the decals out. Okay, so 1, which is an option. Right, okay, so that's number plates. So we've got number plates for California, Michigan, 1968 or Hemi, depending on what you want to do. Then we've got 5, which is the Plymouth logo. 4, which is something I can't really tell what that is. Maybe another part of the logo. So they're going on the rear, so it's not really clear what the position is, so you need some research for that. That's not great. 4 and 6, also logo. You're going to have to look at the back end of that on the internet to understand that. 14, so that's indicators, both sides. And then you've got an optional bumper sticker, which says, the way you overheat goes on. Is that right? The way you overbeat goes on. Okay, interesting. Then we've got 3B and 3A, which is more logo trim for the doors. So you know they're going up the top corner. Passenger side only. I was going to say even though it's the driver's side, but it won't be because it's an American car, isn't it? Not a British one that drives on the correct side of the road. 16. Okay, so there's a little Chrysler badge there, I think. Then we've got, so it's amber lights at the front, red ones at the back. It must mean something in America. And then we've got 17 going there. What's 17? Oh, a little white logo. Don't know what it says. Then 5 at the front is the Plymouth logo again. And then 15 both sides. I can't. Oh right, those are indicators. And then, but we've got 4 of those. Why that is, I don't know. And then 1 optional is back to your number plates. Okay, we do have some interior decals as well, so that's pretty cool. So 2, that's your air filter, which says 426 on it. Then we've got 10. What's 10? 10 is some form of logo. 9 is something to go on the battery, and then 8 is ID plates or something for the engine. So yeah, okay, that's a nice set of decals actually, gives you plenty of interest. Let's just zoom you in so you can have a look a bit closer. Quality of the decals is okay, they're a bit thick and chunky, so you need to bear that in mind, but they're very nice. One decal that's not mentioned is they always give you an AMT one. Not sure anyone would ever really put that on the model car, would they? I don't know. Yeah, there's nothing much wrong with those. Colours are nice and vibrant. Looking at the dashboard here, number 11, all the dials and things are depicted really nice. Got a 12 as well, so I'm wondering if that's like a radio or something. Don't know. But there's plenty of decals there, so yeah, nicely represented. Nothing wrong with that. So I'm doing the plastic parts in reverse order so I can pack it the way it came out. So our first bag has got 3 sprues in, so we'll just lift them off. Right, so first sprue, first thing I'm seeing is loads of flash, not just on the sprue, but we've got quite a bit of flash on the parts here as well. I'm just going to zoom you out a little bit. I've forgotten to zoom out from the decals. There you go. So we've got the white plastic. It's very hard plastic. What we've got something that's missing. Should that be missing? There's no loose parts in the bag. Ooh, I wonder what that is that's not there. Oh, it looks like 2 parts, 390. Okay, I'm going to investigate that in a moment. But we've got the engine block there, and the block tops and bits and pieces. They look okay. They've done a crude attempt at some casting, but you're only getting that on the front surface, not on the bottom surface. I think perhaps that gets covered by the sump. So yeah, there doesn't appear to be any short shots. Got some texturing on the exhaust manifold as well. The fan is a bit rough around the edges, a lot of careful cleanup needed. And then we've got this air grabber that goes in on the bonnet. Again, pretty rough moulding. The tool isn't maintained particularly well. There's all sorts of rough surfaces and things. Part of the joy of car modelling is sorting out the parts. The leaf springs are pretty crude. We've got no definition at all of the individual strips, so you're going to have to get in with a razor saw and do that yourself. A lot of time. I mean, even though this is a 1989 kit, it's not come on a lot from 60s kits in terms of part quality. We've got the wheels here. The fan belt's not too bad in terms of thickness, once that's scraped up and tidied up, that might well be okay. And then we've got transmission. Yeah, that's okay as well. And then we've got our two options there. Right, I'm just going to have a look at whether we need these or not. No, they're not depicted on the back of the box. That's just an empty square. It's interesting they go to the trouble of removing them, because I don't see how they'd use them. So whatever that was, you'd think they'd just leave it on and grey it out as not for use. Interesting. Yeah, okay, that's our first part. I'll take some photographs as we go, and then I'll show you some close-up shots before we round up, but we'll carry on going through the sprues before that. Our next sprue has got parts that go underneath. So we've got the front assemblies there, anti-sway bar, silencers and exhaust piping. And there's nothing much wrong with any of these parts, except no, these are all right. There's a bit of flash in places, but it's not major. The sprue gates are quite big. I mean, look at that on the sway bar. It's yeah, cutting that out will be fun. I don't know. These model designers just make you wonder. I don't know whether that's supposed to be detail or it's ejector pins, to be honest. Everything's a little soft moulded, so everything needs just a little bit of tidy up and shaping and scraping into shape, and you know, making fit for purpose, I think is the wording. But all the parts are there, and yeah, given the age of the tooling, I would say that this was probably quite scruffy even when released. Okay, final of the sprues out of the first bag, and we've got more flash. Steering wheel's got quite a bit of flash on it. The bonnet hinges actually look quite nice. Wouldn't take much to get them looking good. Then we've got bits and pieces for the engine bay there, including the battery, looks nice. Rear firewall with electrical cables and stuff. Obviously you really want to replace those if you can with fine wire or something. Dashboard, that's quite nicely detailed actually. Oh, but we've got a broken pedal. That's a silly solution. Look at that. Why have they done that? Just put them as separate parts. That's bonkers. They're way too vulnerable there. You can see, yeah, that's daft. But the actual detailing of the dashboard is quite nice, though you do have an ejector pin mark on it, which is less nice. Radiator, that looks okay. Quite a bit of cleanup on your steering wheel, and look at the size of the sprue gates on those. So yeah, then you've got your hoses, a lot of heavy seam to be polite, and then we've got our inner wing sections. Again, got some nice detailing of the cabling. What you can do is you can just gently take that out with your chisel, but leave the tie points in, and then you've got something to run your wires between. Yeah, all in all, not too bad, as long as you understand you've got plenty of cleanup. These are great little kits for people new into the hobby to learn knife and sanding skills, clean-up skills, because there's lots of it. And next sprue is the bonnet. Honestly, it's in there somewhere. You just have to dig it out from all the flash. It's been a long time since I've seen that much flash. Blimey. If I was AMT, I'd be a little embarrassed, but I get the feeling that AMT don't have that level of shame when it comes to what they put out. Oh dear. I mean, it's easy enough. It's breaking away just by gently pushing it with my flexing the plastic and pushing it about a bit. So I mean, it's just clean up really. But yeah, bonnet itself isn't too bad. Surface is okay. It's pretty rough around the edges though. What is nice is the level of detail they've managed to get on the inside of the bonnet. We've got a couple of ejector pins, one in each corner to sort, but it's not big beer overall. But yeah, just like any AMT kit, every surface needs a sand. There is like a little cutout line there. I guess that's if you're gonna cut something out of the bonnet and put a big air scoop in or something. Must be something they do on a different version maybe. Interior panels, I mean, you can only have the doors shut because they've moulded it that way. I find a bit bizarre, but it's still an improvement on the bathtub style. We've got moulded in winders, which when painted will look like what they are, but they could do with some work because, you know, it's all fairly flat. So stamping out a little round bit for the mounting point, and then a little bit of rod to give you something to cling on to as a little handle. Yeah, otherwise it's not too bad. It's got the detail and what have you that you'd be looking for. Yeah, not too shabby. I don't know whether these should be opened up or not. They're certainly the side air vent things, they're certainly quite thin. I can see light through them, so it wouldn't be difficult if you wanted to. But yeah, that's those parts. Next out of the bag is more flash with some parts in it. We've got the seats, which are soft moulded, but all the sort of the details there, and you can get away with soft moulded on seats much more than other parts. But again, more flash than you could shake a stick at. Well, more flash than Gordon, to be honest. I'm not quite sure what that is. Is that the parcel shelf, maybe? And then we've got two sort of lumps. I didn't really pick up on what they were either. Part 29. Yeah. And the parts themselves are okay once you've dug them out from all the flash. Next is our internal floor pan, and it has got texturing on for the carpet. Not sure about it. The ejector pins will all be hidden by the seats, and there is a rubber mat moulded in, which is well, it's probably back to front. You've got thin lines breaking, giving you wide recessed strips, and I would suspect it's the other way around. And you've got thin grooves in between raised rubber strips as a rubber mat. And then we've got a moulded in accelerator there, pedal. But yeah, flash again, some cleanup required, but removing these great big lumps on the back, I mean, a lot of shaping work to do. It's surprisingly crude for 1989. You can see that they've come on quite a way from earlier kits, but it's still quite crude even by 1989 standards. But painted up, it wouldn't look too bad at all, that I don't think. Vinyl tyres, so yeah, I'm just having a look. There's no difference in tread or thickness or wheel size, so you could swap the wheels and have the custom wheels on the stock tyres and do it red line, or you could do it the other way around, stock wheels with custom tyres and put the Goodyear ones on. So you've got options. In terms of quality of the vinyl tyres, hadn't noticed. I don't know why I hadn't noticed. You've got one set of tyres with Goodyear printed on one side and the red line on the other. So yeah, not sure about that, to be honest. I don't think that works, because you'll see, if you put the Goodyear one on, you'll see the red line on the inside of the wheel. So I don't know whether you can sand it off. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. Oh well, it's what it is. That's why there's no difference in the tyres, because they are the 4 tyres that you need. Right, okay. But they're not bad in terms of vinyl tyres. They're quite crisp on the red line side and a little bit more rough, needing a bit of clean up on the Goodyear side. But the printing on them is good. Yeah, whichever way you decide to go, they're not looking too shabby. Right, floor pan. Lots of detail on the underneath of the floor pan. There is some ejector pins, but they're very light actually, so a gentle sand will take them out. So there's not much risk of deforming parts. There is, again, a fair amount of flash on this, so the outside edges will need significant tidy up before you fit them. But yeah, putting that to one side, your detail level's good. Nicely done wheel arches and stuff, so yeah, there's no issues with that particularly from my point of view. And once you've put those other details in, it should look fairly good. So yeah, no issues with that. Body, however, I do have some issues with. They have not very carefully removed it from its injection sprue, and so we have damage to the bodywork in both places. That's not acceptable. Yeah, don't like that. Yeah, it says 2022 in here. Yeah, body's damaged, not happy about that. But the moulding of the actual body is crisp. The handles are nice and thin, although obviously there's no actual hand grip in them, so they do look a little bit odd from that angle. Some quite sharp seams to clean up. Windscreen wipers, they're quite subtly done and they look like they sit okay, so you could probably use those if you wanted to. I don't think I would, but other modelers could. As always, the A-pillar's a bit scrappy, but yeah, and then there's all sorts of scuffing and stuff on the surfaces, so you're going to have to do quite a bit of prep to get them nice for a nice paint job. But yeah, locks look okay. Nice details. Quite a bit of clean up of seams, but otherwise that's it. Yeah, no major issues with that. other than the sprue gates being, they look like they've been broken off and rather than cut off, and so what's happened is they've taken part of the body. So in the factory they're just going break it off. What a pity, what a pity. But nice looking car shape, look at that. That's a nice little shape. And then you've got the classic Coke bottle kick out there. So nice long lines. I mean, it's a bit Dodge Charger-esque, isn't it? But yeah, not a bad looking car actually. Clear parts now, and immediately I'm seeing that they're pretty rough, to be honest. Distortion around the edges is not as bad as you first think, but on this corner here it's bad. So in the quarter light, yeah, depends on your angle. They are nice and clear though, so I don't have any issues with clarity at all. They slightly magnify, but yeah, they're okay. They're not very even, which you can see in the light. You can see that they're sort of a bit lumpy. So when you display it, you need to be mindful of that. But otherwise, okay. Big sprue gates again though, and actually broken off this one. Or maybe it's not, maybe that's flash. I think that might be flash because there's only one sprue gate on each, so yeah. Okay, that could definitely have been worse. Chrome parts now, and to be honest, I'm not sure that this little bit of tissue paper has been much help. So I will repack that slightly differently. Let's look at the big sprue first, which is as bent as a politician. Look at that. Once again, we've got some parts that have been removed, which seems very odd to me. Just leave them on. So if we start at the bottom, we've got the wheels, sprue gates on the rim edge, so that could be a problem for preservation of your chrome. But yeah, they look okay. We've got nice openings on these, that looks nice. Plastic's a little rough around the edges, so a bit of gentle tidy up needed, but otherwise okay. Then we've got gear shift. I mean, what's the point of chroming that? I mean, you've got to clean up the sprue gate, so that's going to have to be stripped. You've actually got two different gear levers. Either way, you're stripping them, they're not usable. Same with the rear view mirror, which has got ejector pin marks on the actual lens. Look at that. Well, I've never seen anything so daft in my life. Put the ejector pins on the sprues either side. It would have done exactly the same thing, and that's just not bothered, isn't it? That really is. I'm not bothered. Yeah. Air intakes and bits and pieces. Chrome bit for your suspension. Would we really want it in chrome? Don't know. Rear view mirrors. Actually, the sprue gate is on the mounting point, so you would have got away with it if there wasn't so much flash on the part. You might be able to preserve the chrome on the back of the lens, maybe. Yeah, not sure. Rocker covers, they're nicely done, but again the sprue gate is on the side, so you ain't really preserving that particularly well. I don't think. You might be able to just paint the very thin edge and keep the chrome if you wanted to. Then we've got the air intakes there. The trumpets look quite nicely done, but again, your sprue gates are on the side. They're very visible, so they need to be stripped. You can't work with those with the chrome on. Chrome shocks? Really? Don't think so. Chrome exhaust? No. You've got ejector pins for a start that need cleaning up. No. So you're stripping that, and then air filter, top and bottom. No, you're stripping that. You might get away with the wheels. Everything else on here is going to be needing to be stripped. Well, our final parts now, and we've got bumpers, grille and headlights, tail lights. All of this is going to have to be stripped because of the need for cleanup and removal of the sprue gate. You might get away with the grille because there's no flash or seam on it, and I suspect our sprue gates are not seen, so there's a possibility you might get away with it, but whether those parts were actually chrome or not, I don't know, so you'd have to do some research. Quite often they do chrome parts that were actually anodized aluminium or something like that, so yeah, I mean, really the headlamps is the only desirable bit to be chromed on there, I would think. But the bumpers both need clean up, and you've got sprue gates that will be visible. So yeah, you've got a bit of flash and seam clean up, so you're stripping all of this really, which will give you a better definition, and then when painted up might just look a bit sharper anyway. Well, there you have it, the AMT 1968 Plymouth Road Runner in 1:25 scale customizing kit. What's my first impressions? Well, actually, you can see that AMT had travelled a bit with its kit design by 1989, but not that far. it had done some tentative steps. I mean, some really basic stuff. I would say, yeah, it surprised me how unsophisticated the kit was in some ways. Right, let's start with the packaging then. Packaging's not bad. Box is actually fairly rigid on the corners where you think it might get some crushing. There is some crush damage on this one, and as you saw, it was in the cellophane, and it had come to me in a shipper, so yeah, be careful putting it in your stash. Just think about what weight's going on there, because this is rammed up to the front and you don't want the kit parts being compressed. So packaging was okay, nothing's really moved, nothing's really damaged. I suspect a lot of the scuffing and roughness of the parts is actually done in the factory rather than in the box. Decals, they're a bit chunky, but otherwise they're okay. And you've got plenty, so I was all right with those. And these were new decals for this release just a couple of years ago. Instructions, I don't like the format of the big fold out sheet. It's just clumsy and difficult to work with. The basic layout is okay. You've got paint instructions as you go. It's fairly clear. They even tell you what things are, quite like that. Some of the positions and some of the build sequencing I would do differently. Certainly the paint call outs should perhaps be at the front, or even, you know, on the box as well. So I don't know. Instructions in the main clear and okay. I just don't like the formatting, but that's not big beer, is it? And you know, maybe doing that over 2 or 4 pages stapled A4 would be better and easier. You could still fold it in half and shove it in the box. That's what Revell do with their car kits. So yeah, it could be better. Not the best I've seen, but certainly not the worst either. The actual parts themselves, the detail level is good. That's the first thing to say. Detail level is good. It captures everything. It's a bit soft moulded. That's partly 1989 standard. There is generally soft moulding from most people, not all. Tamiya and people were fairly crisp at that point. So yeah, definitely in 1985 when the kit first, 1989 when the kit first came out, I wouldn't be saying, yeah, this is state of the art tooling. You don't get better than this. You're sort of at the Revell Heller end of the spectrum, the lesser end of the spectrum. There's some nice evolution, as I've said, where, you know, the internal door cards are separate and that sort of stuff. But you know, you've got a moulded in boot. You've got no detail for the inside of the boot. Even if you wanted to open it, you can't open the doors because it's separate parts. You've got no door pillars, so you'd have to cut them out. You'd have to build up the insides of the doors. You'd have to build up the sides of your door pillar in the bodywork. I mean, it's doable. People do it, but it's an awful lot of work. I'm not sure I would bother. So from that point of view, it's crude. The moulding of the parts is very crude, and how they're being treated and handled in the factory is not really good enough. You know, damaged bodywork because they're snapping the parts off rather than cutting the parts off. That's really basic stuff. Lots of flash. I suspect there was flash the day this was released. Clearly the quality and maintenance of the tools isn't that great. So yeah, it's a bit rough around the edges. It's a bit crude. That seems to be AMT's way. The overall impression you get is not there isn't as much pride in the product as you'd think there should be. And even in the design, you know, we're going to put ejector pins on the rear view mirror glass. Really? That's sort of, it's laziness, and it's certainly not having the customer in mind. It's certainly not thinking, yeah, what does the customer want? I suspect they're thinking, well, it's a Plymouth Road Runner, so it'll just sell, just bang it out, you know. Yeah, it's a bit. I think the overall impression I get, and it is this kit is like most AMT kits that I've reviewed so far. It's crude. There's a bit of corner cutting. It's a bit lackluster. Customer's not quite the focus. I think the focus is bang out product and make money. Now I know it's a business. All businesses are there to make money, but there's a balance, and the balance is between making money and making a really nice product. And what we've got here is an okay product. It's an okay kit of a really, really, really nice subject, and they've done an okay job of it. So I don't know what I'll be putting on my thumbnail, but it'd be something like, it's okay. And that would be a fair summary of this. It's okay. It doesn't blow your socks off. It's not amazing. It's got some nice detail. With a lot of effort and tidy up, you can make it into a nice kit. And with a bit of imagination and customization, you could make it into something awesome. But what you get in the box starts off just okay. So there you have it. That's my first impression of this particular kit. I hope that was useful, insightful. If, like me, you're on the start of your car building journey. Until the next time I see you, you enjoy your modelling. Bye for now.